Tell me about yourself. My name is Emily Smith. I am a sophomore at Ball State University in the Miller Business Honors Program. I'm actually just finishing up my sophomore year, and I am studying accounting and Spanish. I am currently involved in women in business, as well as I am a Spanish tutor at Burris Laboratory School for elementary kids, and I work at a part-time job at Chick-fil-A in Muncie, about 20 hours a week. And in my free time, I enjoy hanging out with friends, baking, painting on canvases, and just spending time outside. What is the biggest mistake you ever made, and what did you learn from it? So this is kind of personal, but honestly, I'd say my biggest mistake is rushing into a relationship, and I ended up getting hurt 2 weeks later. So I ended up just sacrificing my friendship with this person. And so from this, I learned to slow down and relax and just let things come as they are. Everything that you're supposed to get in life will come at the right time when you're ready. And this can be relevant for any aspect of life, whether that's a job promotion, studying in class, in college. When you least expect something, it will come and it will be the right time. What accomplishment are you most proud of, and how did you achieve it? So my biggest accomplishment that I am most proud of is traveling to Spain all alone, by myself. I went on a study abroad trip last summer, and this was my first time ever leaving the country, and I decided to travel without the group. So I had to learn how to get through both airports. I had to navigate public transit in Spain, and when you first get there, there's a huge language barrier. Of course, I knew some Spanish, but it's just overwhelming right at first, especially when you're tired from the flight and you're just trying to get to where you have to go. So I had to, in order to achieve this, I did extensive research ahead of time. So I looked up which train stations I had to go to, how much they would cost. I watched videos of people in these airports at these train stations walking me through how it all works, just so I was prepared and not so overwhelmed when I was actually there. Alright. And give me an example of when you had to work with someone who was difficult to get along with. Why was this person difficult, and how did you handle this situation? So last summer I was a head lifeguard at the community pool in my town. It was my 4th summer working there, and so I was on the management team, and there was this 16-year-old boy, new lifeguard, who pretty much the whole summer did not do his job very well. For example, he would just stand still. You're supposed to kind of move your head, scan the water, make sure everyone is safe, but he wouldn't even do that. It's a simple job, but it's a very important job too. He would also have missing parts of his uniform, like sunglasses and a visor, which are all very important parts, especially as a lifeguard when you're out in the sun all day. So instead of just questioning him and asking and just assuming things, I went up and talked to him. I asked him how he was. I got to know him first and showed interest. And I just wanted to make sure that he was doing okay, like as a person. And I got to know him, and then I was able to ask questions. Okay, why aren't you wearing this part of your uniform? Why aren't you doing your job? And so once I built that trust between us, he kind of respected me more as a leader, and he listened to me essentially and started doing his job. Let's see. What role do you generally assume on a team? So I would say this kind of depends on the situation. If I am in a class, I would say generally I like to be a leader, but also I like to choose teams where everyone in my team can be their own leader, where we can all work together. Another way I do it is assigning specific tasks for each person based on their strengths. So one person can lead a certain aspect of the group. So for example, I'm very organized, so I like to take charge in finalizing everything, cleaning it all up, like the PowerPoint presentations, and making sure everything is consistent. How would past coworkers and friends describe you and your personality? So I feel like there's a big difference between how coworkers and my friends would describe me. So I think coworkers would definitely say I'm quiet at first, but they would also say I'm very hardworking, willing to learn. I have a positive attitude. I never complain about new tasks that I have to do. They would say that I'm more comfortable as time goes on. And then with friends, my very close friends would say I can be quiet at times, but also most of the time when I'm with my friends, I'm just goofy, outgoing, fun to be around. And also, I'm very caring. I would say I'm very caring. I really care a lot about others and other people's feelings. So, describe a time you failed and how you dealt with it. So this goes back to my lifeguarding job. So when I was 16, I started lifeguarding, and I did it for one summer, and I decided, I was like, okay, I'm ready to interview for head lifeguard after 3 or 4 months of just being a lifeguard. And when I was 16, I was super quiet, super shy, not very confident in myself. So, but I figured I'm a really good worker, I'm gonna go for this anyway. And I ended up crying during the interview, which is really embarrassing. My boss was super intimidating, and this whole situation, it just really hurt my confidence for a long time. But I didn't give up. I mean, I'm still working there today, and I'm on the management team now. I didn't just quit my job after that. I realized what mistakes I made, whether that be at work, in the interview even, and I learned how to improve my skills. And during the next summer, I decided to interview again for head and lifeguard after that second summer, and I actually got it then. So I just wasn't ready for it when the time came, and another year of experience, and I learned so much more about the job and about myself. So tell me about your primary strength and weakness. So for my main strength, I would say I'm organized and proactive. So in regards to work, I will go out of my way to find something to do if I'm just bored, if I'm sitting there, because I don't think I should be getting paid if I don't have anything to do. So I'll try to find something to do, whether that's cleaning or helping someone else with their task. And then one of my weaknesses is that I am more on the quiet side, and so my communication with others it depends. So I'm kind of shy at first when I first meet people, so it's hard for me to communicate my thoughts and my needs. So, for example, my job at Chick-fil-A, I started just last September, and I mean, I was super shy and quiet at first, so it was hard to find people to cover my shifts when I needed them. I didn't know how to ask for help at that point. But after a few months of getting comfortable with everyone, learning how to communicate, especially at that job where communication is key when you're working fast food, you're communicating with your coworkers, with the customers, it's all the time. So honestly, having a part-time job at a fast food restaurant has really helped me learn how to communicate with people, even if they aren't the best people to communicate with. If they're being rude to you, you have to learn how to adapt and tell them the right things. So I would say that was one of my weaknesses, but it's getting better. And why should I hire you instead of the other candidates for this position? So, as I mentioned, I am not really the loudest person in the room or the easiest person to talk to, but I'm always willing to learn something new. I want to ask those questions and grow in my job. I am definitely qualified for the position, but I mean, there might be other candidates who have more communication skills in their belt, but I am willing to grow as a person, and I don't want to be someone that just knows everything right away, because if you know everything right away, that just gets boring. I want to learn. I want to learn from others, and be able to get more experience as I work through my job. And then the last question, which fictional or cartoon character best personifies you and why? I would say probably Belle from Beauty and the Beast, because she's a very intelligent, smart woman. And she doesn't go out of her way to make everyone know that she's this really smart girl. She's very reserved, but also she sees beyond people's appearances and goes right for the heart, and she's super caring in that aspect. And I think that I am also the same way. I don't want to justify someone based on how they look or just one experience I've had with them. I want to learn more about a person. I want to get to know someone before I make any assumptions. And that is all. Thank you.